The most important thing about making movies or just telling stories is that it's fun. Or it should be. Otherwise, get the hell out. Hi, my name is Danish Aslam. I'm a filmmaker. And today I'm here to talk to you about filmmaking as a career. Or perhaps as a hobby. I didn't know I wanted to be a filmmaker until I finished college, which just goes to show that there's no right age for you to decide. What you need is fairly basic, an inclination towards telling stories, ideally through images. That's all. It's a career where literally almost everybody has already got some sort of experience. Everybody has a phone, right? You all definitely do. And everybody takes pictures and shoots videos, hundreds and thousands every month for TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, and by the time you see this, probably another 20 new apps that I will never even know the name of. And if you use any of them, you are already on the first step to becoming a storyteller. Because that's essentially all that filmmaking is, telling stories. The advantage that you have, which we didn't growing up, is access. If you have a phone or a tablet or a digital camera, you've already got pretty much everything you need to becoming a filmmaker. Right now. In fact, some Oscar-winning movies have now been shot on iPhones. So you literally have access to the same equipment that award-winning filmmakers globally do. It's just how you use it. So today I'm not going to talk to you about how to prepare for filmmaking as a career or tips to crack some exams for it. I just want to take you through the process of telling a story, and hopefully that will encourage you to tell one. The first thing you need to figure out is, do you like stories? If there's one thing I've learned from my 5-year-old daughter, it's that the chances of the answer to that being no are very less. The second thing is, do you like telling stories? And this is the crucial part. When I asked my daughter the same question, she said yes, and then told me a story about a girl living in an apartment with her parents. That's it. Now, what she told me was a setup, not a story. What she told me was who the characters are and where they live and what they do. That's it. And that is a setup. A story is what happens to the characters or what the characters do that changes things around them or in their own lives. The second feature of a story is that it has a structure, by which I mean it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So, keeping this in mind, let's go through some basic steps of telling a story. Step number 1. Write a story or a narrative. Draw a story. Use stick figures, it doesn't matter. The quality of the drawings is not important. Think of a story in your head, although I strongly recommend the writing it down part. Then, break it down into scenes, if there are multiple scenes. At the very least, write or draw the key moments of the story. The thing is that when you first pick up a camera, the temptation is just to get out there and shoot stuff. But if you do that, you end up just filming anything and everything, and the end result usually isn't very good. So, once again, write down your story. An analogy that I like to use are these Scrabble tiles. You have all the letters and you know that they can be put together to make words. But the number of ways they can make words is many. They could be arranged like this or this. The tiles are the elements or the ideas in your story. You could have them all in your head, but until you organize them into a structure, they're just tiles. So, once you have written or drawn it, there are 2 things to check. 1, that it is a story and not just a setup. And 2, that it has a structure, a beginning, a middle, and an end. Next, decide the logistics of the shoot. Who's going to be in it? Where will you shoot it? What's the setting? What are the props that you need? Any special lights or equipment? I would recommend keeping it simple if this is your first time. A story doesn't become good because of these elements. It can work just as well with two people in front of a blank wall, as long as what they're doing or saying is interesting. Next, shoot the story. Use your phone, use your digital camera. If you have a tripod, use that. If you don't, you can use a small flexible tripod like these, which are found online, called gorilla pods. If you don't have either, use a flat surface. Use your hand to hold the camera. That's pretty much all you need. Some things to keep in mind while shooting are: 1. Composition. How you frame a shot. What do you keep in it? What do you keep out of it? The angle at which you shoot it. There are different types of shots. For example, a low angle. A wide shot could help set up the environment or give context. A close-up could help focus on one thing. A top angle. The universe of the story that you're telling is contained in that frame. Just like the world that you create while writing is contained by the words that you use. So it's up to you what you want to put in there and what you want to keep out. The other thing about shooting a story is that it isn't necessarily going to be shot in the same order that you wrote it or that you will see it in, which is why writing or drawing it is important. So you can keep a list of what you need to shoot if you're shooting it out of sequence. Film the same scene from various angles and play with lighting and backgrounds. It's better to have too much footage than not enough, trust me. And with iPhones and digital cameras, that's really not a problem since you're not using film. What's film? Most of you are probably asking. Well, film is where I start to feel old for having to answer that question. Moving on. Edit the story, which means put it together. Editing is where you write the story for the second time. You can jump from one shot to the other, or maybe even from one location to another, as long as it makes sense. You can change the order of the shots, of the scenes, add music, add effects. If you like comedy, editing makes the jokes snappier. If you like action, editing makes the scenes more exciting. If you like drama, editing helps the viewer to focus on the story and characters. And finally, watch it. Show it to other people. Listen to their feedback. And if you agree with it, make changes. Watch it again. And when you do, remember that you have just made your first movie. Okay, now for some general advice. Watch movies, not just for entertainment. Rewatch some of your favorite movies or scenes and see how they've been made. After you've tried shooting some stuff, try rewatching it again. And this time, look at the choices that were made. Story choices, shots, the colors used, anything. You may not be able to recreate that, but you'll definitely understand it better the second time around. Recreate a scene from your favorite movie or show, create an alternate ending, or change something about it that you don't like. If you want to do something simpler, interview someone interesting to you, someone from your family. Plan out the questions, schedule the interview, set up the equipment. It all falls under the umbrella of filmmaking. Behind the scenes clips from big movies, which YouTube is full of, are fun. You can learn quite a lot about how to make films from watching how a professionally run film set functions and, more importantly, what the problems are. If you have other friends interested in doing the same thing, plan a film festival. Screen each other's movies and talk about how you made them. Give feedback to each other, suggest what could be better, etc., etc. Remember, there are many other jobs in filmmaking than just being a director. As you make a film, you may realize that you enjoyed the process of shooting it the most. Or perhaps you preferred putting it together and changing things around after the shoot. So you could be a cinematographer, which is a person who lights and shoots the movie, or an editor. Make mistakes. Learn from them. If you don't, you will not learn. The things that stick in your head the most are the things that didn't work. And finally, keep going. If there's anything of a storyteller in you, this is not something that I need to stress here, because if it's one thing, it's addictive. But if you don't like what you made, or people didn't like it when you showed it to them, it doesn't matter. The only thing you need to decide right now, if it is something that you had fun doing. Remember what I said at the beginning? A little later in life, you may also need to figure out if it's something that drives you, that excites you. But for now, just focus on 2 questions. Did I like doing it? Do I want to do it again? That's all for now. I hope this helped. And before I go, I want to remind you again that you already have access to everything that you need to become a filmmaker. There is nothing that is stopping you from finding out if this is a career you want to pursue, or even if it's something you enjoy doing. So, find out. Best of luck. Bye-bye.